Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Casa Podcast. We're back again for another episode of the podcast, and today we're going to take a stab at one of the most interesting and challenging topics I think we've ever had on the show. Today, we're going to be talking about internet security and artificial intelligence, the applications, and the what it means for us. Right? We've been for some weeks now delving into issues that really pertain to millennials and Gen Zs. And we did talk about privacy and all the things that come with it. And now we're going to take another step back in the conversation and look at security, internet security. Basically, now we've all become members of the internet community. We all live online. We live in massive internet footprints, and there are ways to do this internet thing well so that it doesn't come back to bite you in the bum later down the line. Amazingly, last week in the chat, those who were in the chat, there was a young man in the chat who promised to come over and help us out. And so today, I have some amazing people in the house. I have my usual suspects, the usual suspects. I have Efia Yeboah, I have Kwesi Frost, and then I have a new Kwesi in the building. Guys, how you guys doing? How you guys doing?
Good,
Doing
good.
well.
Good,
Hey,
good.
are you guys sure you're doing well?
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there, hanging in there. Kwesi Frost has started again, where he's commenting on his own show. Kwesi Frost is welcoming people to the Casa podcast.
It's
Yeah,
always welcome.
it
Man.
is
I have to
always
welcome
good to
them.
welcome our people, man. If you're new to the page, don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the conversation, any of the fun conversation we have here at the Casa podcast. Right? Evia, how
Yeah.
are you doing? How's your week?
My week was stressful.
Yeah.
Oh
What was
yeah.
stressing you
It
out?
was stressful. I started working, not really working, but kind of like working, and I
Hmm.
have to drive long distance. And also I have to wake up early, which
Hmm.
wasn't something I was doing in the past few weeks. So
Okay. Okay. But at least in your commute, did you have like a good podcast to listen to as you went down?
oh yeah, of
Like the Casa
course.
podcast?
I mean, it's nice to listen when I'm not on the show, right? I hate listening to myself, so I would switch through and go to the shows I missed and then listen to it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, but keep listening to the Casa podcast. And if you haven't done that yet and you're on here, it's a good podcast for commute. If you're commuting for work, it's one of those things to binge listen. So
yeah.
don't forget to check us out on Spotify and wherever you get your podcast, right? Mr. Frost, how was your week?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get
Oh,
in?
it was good. It was good. It was
Selling wachi
productive.
as usual?
Yep. It was productive. Sold a few watches and
Nice, 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 nice.
yeah.
Let me go to the new guy. New guy. What's up? For those of you who don't know, this new guy is connected or related to me. I don't want to discuss the relation I have with this guy, but how was your week? How was your week?
It's been good so far. I mean, can't complain. Can't
Hmm,
complain.
good, good,
Yeah,
good.
the weather has been taking its swing at us. Yeah, so we had like the negatives so harsh. So
I
aside
refuse to
that,
accept this. Listen to this comment, Kwesi. Read this
A lot
comment.
of similarities between Kwesi and Kusha.
I refuse to accept this.
yeah,
Zero similarities. He's a
zero,
cool
zero,
guy. He's
zero.
a guy who knows some
Yeah,
stuff about AI, and I'm the guy who knows some stuff about
basically.
nothing. And so, obviously, obviously, but guys, welcome to the show. And I would like us to dig in, right? And it would be interesting to start the conversation from how my week went. I guess it would lay the foundation for this conversation beautifully. My week was hectic, all because I got a serious data breach. I think the internet was listening to me talk about how we're going to be talking about internet privacy and security. And the internet gods were like, let's give this guy a massive challenge. So this week I got hacked. My accounts were like, you know, all over the place. Some interesting guy in Michigan was blackmailing me. He had access to all my accounts and said, "Give me some money, else I would really make your life miserable." And I was like, "I'd like to see you try." And for a couple of days, me and this guy went back and forth. He was blocking me out of everything. My mail were most of my stuff were 2FA. And if you don't know what 2FA is, we're going to definitely talk about that. But all my 2FA stuff were safe. But like my usual websites that don't require 2FA, like, my IBM and all those accounts were gone. My Epic Games was gone, which was sad because I play a lot of Fortnite and this person tried to make a lot of purchases with my account. Luckily, I was able to fix this because my brother knows some AI stuff, and I have a few other friends who
You just
helped me
gave
out.
yourself out.
Oh yeah, he did give himself
I
out.
know I did give myself away, but I worked with a couple of my friends and we came up with good ways to solve this issue. And I know a lot of people are going through similar stuff, right? And so it would be good to have a conversation around it because these days it looks like getting hacked is like a common thing on the internet. Someone somewhere is trying to get your information. Someone somewhere is trying to listen to what you're doing, paying attention to your internet activity. They're tracking you. They're doing so many things, and it makes it very hairy to navigate the internet space without getting hacked. And so I think it makes the conversation very topical. And so before we dive into the conversation itself, I want to ask, has anyone been hacked on the space on the show?
No,
No,
Oh,
not me.
not me.
nobody? Kwesi, have you
No.
been
I
hacked?
have been. I've been
No.
happy before.
Oh,
Yeah.
At least I'm not the
when?
only one. I didn't want to look lonely on the show. If you're listening
Yeah,
to
I've
the
been
show
happy
in the
before. Yeah.
audience section, please, if you've been hacked, let us know in the comment section that you have had some form of internet privacy breach, and let's discuss this. Kwesi, so when were you hacked, and what was it about, and how did you fix it?
Yeah, so basically, I got a fish email,
Ah,
and
yeah.
because of what I do, I mean, I was quite curious because it was along the lines of my research, basically.
Mhm.
So I clicked on it, and the person got access. So I was using on my phone. The person got access to my
Oh.
phone, which was a bit strange because not to talk down on other operating system, but I think Android is a bit weak when it comes to protection. So it just popped up and installed a particular app, which was basically something else researching on. So if you know about augmented reality, so you get access to your camera, you're able to like do project into the real world, and it's a very cool application in the first place. And so I was navigating through the application and I realized that there are other things going on in the background without my control. So now the person had like access to they just went home, like it acted as though the app crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And all I saw is it went home and
Mm-hmm.
it went to my PayPal account. So
Oh
I was not
wow.
controlling the phone. So I had to quickly turn off the phone. And
What?
Did
yeah,
you
so
say it was an Android device?
it was an Android device. It was an Android
Okay.
device. So it was a very cool application. It gives you instructions on how to navigate and do all these things. And oh boy, it was very difficult to because then you gave the person the access yourself.
Access.
You literally
Yeah.
enable the person to get access to the information, and
So
Hmm.
it's
like, did you
quite.
have to delete it or something? Like,
So you turn off the app and go offline. So
Mm.
once you offline, the person can't
The
remotely
connection
access anything again. So when
servers.
you go offline, you can airplane mode. So I quickly turn it on, put it in airplane mode, and uninstall the app and clear the cache. So even if there's something hidden somewhere that he can reactivate the application, I make sure I wiped everything out. Then I stop using Android basically from that day.
not, not that we're here to advertise for
Oh
any
yeah, yeah. I'm not choosing
operating
sides.
system. But
I'm not choosing
again,
sides. Yeah.
it's an interesting thing, right? And you mentioned phishing, which wasn't one of the things that came up whenever I was preparing for the show. But that's one of the
Yeah.
main ways people use to get into our system, right? They send you
Mhm.
phishing emails, or even on WhatsApp, they design very funny phishing um notifications, and then they'll send that to you. And the minute you hit on that, they have access in. And
Okay.
it's so funny, but most of the hacks, aside one of those times where you'd get a data breach of a company you're using or an app you're using, most of the time they come to you and be like, can I have your information? And sometimes we unknowingly go like, yeah, sure, here you go.
It's funny
No,
because
but
when he said fishing,
mhm,
when I back in the day I had a roommate, and I've never been back. Where we had a three bedroom, and one bedroom was like the office where we kept the internet box, the router, and everything, and all the computer, everything was connected to one power strip.
Hmm.
So he was trying to start a dating website, like he started his business,
Hmm.
and he was talking to a lot of people online and paying like third party people to do stuff. And I think he had an issue, so he somebody reached out from India, and
Mm.
a lot of jobs been outsourced to India,
Hmm.
so it's
Hmm.
normal to you talk to people from India, Philippines.
Hmm.
So I'm busy doing something on my laptop in the living room, and then the internet just goes off like that, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
so I just yelled. I'm like, "Yo, did you like what's going on?" He was like, "Bro, some guy um was supposed to be tech support or whatever." He was like, "All right, share your screen and let me walk you through whatever." And then when he
Uh-oh.
shared his screen, dudes just went to his Chase whatever bank
Uh-oh.
account and try. He had like their password saved, so once you hit sign in,
Hmm.
it just pops up. Try to do stuff. So he saw that, he just ran, and
oh,
then he just pulled the the
Oh
the
my
power
God.
strip from
Uh-huh.
the wall. So the whole internet went off. So
What
it's
off?
and it was funny. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I was just laughing. I'm like,
And
it was
it's
just weird.
funny you bring this up, and it's funny we're seeing this to be funny, but it's really an interesting thing, how whenever you're the most vulnerable is when you're actually looking for help on the internet. Like
Yep, yep.
whenever you're consulting with people to help you solve an issue, that's
Mhm.
the most vulnerable because that's when people can easily get into your system. And I when I was going through my problem, one of the people I talked to was like, man, you are the lucky one, because one of his friends had just lost about $10,000 just a few weeks ago, because she also had a problem, called tech support, and tech support is like, let me help you. They get into their debit account, not their credit card, their debit account, and just wire money out. Luckily, it took some time for the money to get transferred, and within that time she figured out, man, this is a bad idea, this is a scam. So she put a hold on it, so the bank only retrieved part of it. They took some of the money, and the bank was like, because it's your debit, we're not obliged to go get it for you. So we would, take some of it.
And I
But
think
it
once, could you? I think once they get you, your data is out there. So it's like another guy try because
Mhm.
this guy after the dude was trying to help him with a website. He was like, "Oh, I'm trying to go." When he owns a website, so he's trying to do stuff behind the scenes, like the whole dating, whatever he's
Mhm.
trying to put in. So another guy called that he has a job in LA for him, and he
mhm.
sent a check. Apparently, it was this. I don't know how it worked. It was this fake check that when you deposit, they have access to take.
Oh
I
my
forgot what
gosh.
it. So it's like after that came to, and I'm like, oh
Oh
man,
gosh,
you out there, you on the chopping block, man.
man. And that's rather interesting. And when the chain reaction, right? You get hacked one time. Yes, like we see was saying, the person who hacked you, some of them end up selling your details on the black market for like $50. I got someone send me a message on Instagram that, hey, I have access to your stuff. Give me $150. I'm going to use it. I did not bother. I didn't mind them for a while. And then they come back and like, listen, we can negotiate. If 150 is too much, I can take 80. I'm like, you're just a whack internet hack. Like, you
Bad
know,
criminal. You're a
it's
bad
just
criminal.
terrible. But he would go and sell it to someone, right? Give them fake Netflix stuff. And then they'll just bother you. You just be there and people will be trying to log into your stuff. And it's annoying. But now that we've outlined the problem, and it looks like a lot of us have stories like that. Only Efia Yeboah has not been hacked. And I'm hoping she's never hacked. Efia Yeboah, because you've not been hacked, and I'm hoping most of our
I
viewers.
don't mention my name and say hack. Now that we know your devices are listening and everything is listening,
No, but
don't mention my
this is
name.
the point of the show, right? The
Don't
show in
mention
the
my name
show.
and say hack.
No,
And next
AY
like
in the
it's just
show.
going to take that and go on with it.
we're about to discuss best practices to reduce the chances of getting hacked. And we want to stay that way. I know a lot of listeners have not been hacked yet, and we want it to stay that way. And that's why we're recording the show. So today, we're going to be talking about some of the things we can do ourselves to protect ourselves online. What are some security um, features and certain things we can use to make sure these horrible hack stories do not happen to us? I know Kwesi has a lot prepared, and I know most of us do a lot of these things already. And so we're going to go around the room
Yeah.
and basic internet practices. I would start. Number one, please try not to use the same password for everything.
Classic,
I am that jackass who
classic,
did that. I am that idiot
classic,
who did that.
classic,
Like I had
classic.
this one password, and I'm so lazy to remember passwords. So I get just used it for everything. And when you get hacked, it makes it very vulnerable because
Oh
hackers will
man, that
try
is so hard.
everything. They'll go everywhere. And so to do that, we're saying don't do that. I know a lot of people don't have the time. When I looked at my data breach thing, I had 402 passwords that were likely to have been corrupted. There's no way I'm saving 402 different passwords in my head. And so, what we'd recommend is you either there are a lot of free apps and even some paid apps for that. We're not going to name any apps because nobody is paying us to do that. But find one of these password managers or even use your own computer password. If you're using an operating system like the Apple iOS operating system, it recommends certain passwords to you. Most often they are better than using your own. Someone is God's wife 2016 and they use it for everything. When you get
Jesus,
hacked,
I love Jesus. 1, 2, 3.
exactly. So try and use a lot more of those strong passwords recommended by AI, right? When your AI generates a password for you, most often your computer or your device saves it for you so that you don't have to remember it. But if you can't, just make sure you're changing your passwords from app to app, right? Just make sure you, because
Oh my
I am a testament for that. I had one password for 120 different accounts. And once one of them was breached, all those were vulnerable. And so I had to go in. So one thing is don't reuse your passwords. It just puts you at a higher likelihood that a breach would be catastrophic. If you're one,
So I have a question.
mhm.
I can use Jesus Christ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
no.
Not after you said it on
Um,
the show.
yeah, yeah. So that one is gone. That one is gone.
Not
There's,
after
there's
you said
always
it
a
on
way
the show.
around it, right? There's always like a way around it. A lot of people keep making the same mistake. So the fact that we say don't use the same password, someone will just add one to the end of the other one. So the base password, then the next one is point one, point two, point three. These are very basic ones that anyone who can hack you can just follow the pattern. Once they find out there's a trend, it's easy to just then go on point three, point four, and stuff like that. So the trick most people I recommend to is if you're someone who can easily forget password, you shouldn't use the name of your someone you like or
Mm,
you're interested in a hobby or stuff like that. Go for the strangest thing you yourself can easily forget.
mm.
And
Can easily
it
forget.
shouldn't be, yeah, you yourself can easily forget. Use that
Okay.
one and write it physically somewhere
Mm,
and make sure the place you write it you can also forget. It's better searching for your password in your room, running around and chancing upon it, than to let someone find it on the internet and use it against you. So if you're
interesting.
very lazy, find a book, write it down, and put it where you and yourself are not going to find easily.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
take the pain and go through all that to save yourself from the internet because you
Mm,
can't lose the ten
mm,
thousand
mm,
pounds or
mm.
dollars just because of your
Man, that is
laziness.
an
Point two,
interesting
point three.
thing. That's an interesting thing I've never actually thought about. Make it difficult for you to find your password. Even slightly easier for you than for the hackers, right? Don't make yourself vulnerable. Write it somewhere. I learned my lesson. Now I write it in my planner. I'm not going to open it, but now I have my planner and I write.
Okay, you said
So
if someone gets a planner, do you know they have a
so
password?
Sorry.
So, Kojo,
But that's the thing. I only write the password. You don't know what it is to.
You don't know the account.
You don't know what account it is linked to.
okay.
And the funny thing is, but again, there are so many features out there that are really helpful. And one of them is an app that you can actually print out physical copies of all your accounts and your password. And the other day I
Password.
printed 3 of them and I've hidden them all over my house. Just in case I have to run around and find my password, because I am not getting hacked and breached again. So now I am changing everything all the time.
Oh my god.
If yeah, well,
That
what
is
can we
too
do?
much.
What else can we do?
I'm thinking two-factor identification. If the app
Yes.
you're using offers that,
2FA.
yeah,
2FA.
just do it. I mean, that's the easiest.
Mhm.
I have been using that for my bank account, for
Mhm.
even Twitter, like basic
Mhm.
things. I just use it
Yep.
just so you know, in case someone have access to it. Because I'm also one of the people that use one password for almost everything. Actually, it's two. So one for regular.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
You
So
made
one
it
for
easy.
make it easy. One for the ones that don't contain anything, and
Mhm.
it's just Twitter, and then one for
Where
sensitive
the money is.
information.
Give us the first word of that one.
Oh, I be being serious right now.
No, but it's
Yeah,
so true
so
what you're talking about. Two-factor authentication is probably one of the best, and one of the easiest ways to use 2FA, even for apps that do not, is to download. Hey, I'm going to have to advertise, but there's an app called an authenticator. There are different types. So now I'm not advertising. There are a couple of authenticators out there. Get an in-house or on-platform authenticator. That way, even if the app doesn't have 2FA built in, you can find a way to connect that. So every time you try to sign into that account, you have to come into that app and use it. And I know Yahoo has a very wonderful key for your Yahoo Mail where you can actually have a physical key. And for me, my physical key is my phone. So I don't need a password. I don't need 2FA. Every time I try to log in, my phone is the key. I have to go in there and actually let myself in. So no matter where I am on the planet, my phone should be physically there. The problem with that is your phone can break. You can lose your phone. Like anything can happen. But for me, the security of having an actual key that opens my mailbox is one thing. But 2FA is always good. Sometimes you can use your thumbprint, you can use your face ID as the second authenticator, you can use your phone number, you can use other things other than just keying in your password. It's one of the key features and one of the key things you can do to protect yourself. Guys, keep thinking about it while I go through some of the comments, because today the comment session has been rather interesting and very mean to me. I am going to take personal offense to some of the things. Amanda is saying there's a lot of similarity between Kwesi and Kojo. Yeah, I won't comment on that, but there could be some truth to that. Rashid is saying, hello, is it just me or does Kwesi look like Kojo version 1.1? Rashid, is just you. At this point, it is just you. Nobody ever thinks that way. Why is there Kojo Pro Max? Listen, now I'm being harassed. I'm being attacked. The show has been hacked. The show has been hacked. Why is there Kojo Pro Max on here? Okay. Gen Zs can get hacked. That's true. Gen Zs don't have much. So if you're a boy, that's why you've not been hacked. Nanama Mwakwa is laughing. She's laughing at the fact that Gen Zs cannot be hacked. First, if you want to talk to me directly. That's what Mr.
Yeah,
Son is
so we
saying.
know your password is I love Jesus 1 2 3 4. We know. We know.
Rashid is saying, wait, a human being made the AI and you want me to take what was
Yeah.
recommended? What if the person who designed the AI has rigged it to
Rashid.
send it to his inbox? hey,
Rashid.
hey, honestly, Rashid, the truth is, I can't even begrudge you for this position. Listen, be skeptical of most of the things you see online. If it's too good to be true, sometimes
It
it's too
is.
good to be true. Yes, be very wary of some of the free things that come to you, especially some of these apps that come to you and be like, I can help you make dance videos and share with the world. We're going to come to that. That's going to be the next segment we're going to branch into things we should apps we should take good care of, and the things we should be looking out for when we're installing some of these apps. But yeah, Rashid, I completely agree with the skepticism. It's a good position, at least in the modern day of the internet. Mr. Song is saying tomorrow I am changing all my passwords.
What are you
Song,
doing today,
you're
Song?
waiting for
What are you?
tomorrow? Hmm.
You will be hacked tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's
Eh, eh.
he's
We,
he's
we,
waiting
we,
for me to hack him.
we're
And
not
then
going to
change
say
it tomorrow.
anything is going to happen to your accounts, but if you can, start today, as especially the most vulnerable ones, like the ones you don't want to lose. You should start protecting them right now, or at least do a 2FA or MFA. There are some apps that offer you multiple factor authentications. Please take as many of the protections as possible. And Rashid is saying, Kojo version 1.0, you have you have printed them and placed them around your house. What if you aren't home? Dude, yes, that's why I would have to wait and get home. Like, you can't you that's the thing with security, right? The more secure you are, the more difficult it is for you to, wiggle around, right? Like, imagine if you even have physical security. There's so many places you can't go just because you have a big, security entourage. It's the same way with internet security. If you really want to protect yourself, there's so many things if I lose stuff out in the market or in town, I'll just have to wait and come home. Like, I would just have to wait. Sometimes it's worth the little headache of waiting a few minutes to get to your password. If yeah, does the account start with an O and only people okay. If yeah, he's basically asking if you have an OnlyFans account.
I do. I showed makeup tutorials that you can join for $50
Thank
a
you.
day.
Rashid, you have your question. It's a $50 subscription per day. And so, yes, she does have it, and you can definitely subscribe. Amanda, Kwesi went to Kujo's auntie's best friend's second cousin's son. What? Wait.
Oh my
Kwesi must
god,
be Kujo's auntie's
Rashid.
best friend's second cousin's son. The resemblance is closely distant. Interesting. Yeah, we have to look into
What
this.
does that even
He
mean?
might be. He might be. That is a very long. That is an actual family
What
tree. If I've actually seen one, as a whole
does
tree.
that,
But guys,
what does that
now,
even mean?
I'm shocked.
Put on
yeah,
my glasses for this.
about some of the things we can do to protect ourselves. One of the things would be looking closely at the apps we are downloading and installing. What are some of the things you guys know and have heard about apps we install, and how can we protect ourselves from some of these apps?
I just heard today that TikTok have access to my phone. I don't know how or why, but I definitely didn't give them that permission. They didn't say, and I don't know why the terms and conditions are so long. Nobody actually wants to read, and they know nobody wants to read it, and so you just have to say accept. You go through it, and then you realize, oh, they have access to um your. I thought they'll have access to things that I do when I'm on the app, not when I'm off the app on Instagram somewhere else,
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
Twitter. That
Well,
is
if you
no.
don't accept, you can't use it, right? So either
Yeah,
you
so
accept
basically,
or you
that is
don't.
that is like putting you in a position where you have no choice.
Yeah, but that's how
I-
that's how the
it's
world
funny.
works.
It's funny that is a complaint, but that is how it works, right? They've designed these apps, and I think Kwesi would probably talk a lot more about some of these apps and how they make money. But when they design these apps, they have to make money. And in the attempt to make money, they have to find a way to make the app commercial, generate revenue. Else, they're not going to keep making these apps. And so they have their lawyers design these things so that people who have not been to law school, one, don't have the time to read. And even if you read it, you won't understand it. And so, yeah, terms and conditions are key. Like the minute you were speaking, I was like, did you read the terms and conditions? And did you even take time to look at the terms
No,
and
I don't.
conditions?
I don't ever read terms and condition because if I want to download an app, I just want the app. So after
Hmm.
downloading whatever you want, that's fine. Let me just go and see what is on there. I don't think any. Well, maybe some people do read, but at the end of the day, if you read or not read, you're accepting everything, and it's like leaving you with no option. And that's my own. I'm
Hmm.
like, why would you do this?
Interesting. What do you
Mhm.
guys think about terms and conditions, and what are some of the ways we can go around them?
Yeah, so basically, coming under mobile applications. So most of the time, there are other alternatives, just that they are not as fancy as the one you want to use. So, for example, you have WhatsApp for messaging, but there are other options that are also like highly encrypted and more secured
Mm.
that won't need your photos, won't need your. They just it's just a text-based communication. And there are open source ones that the security might be low, but because of the numbers there, it's a bit protected, right? All those options are available there, just that they are not lucrative. They are not the ones every the general public are using. Like, and you might be the only one among your friend group using it. So because you're forced by the masses to navigate towards a particular specific application, then your hands are basically tied to share your information. So just a little bit about how these applications are designed. First and foremost, there's no application that's free. There's no free version anywhere of any application available. So it's a trade. You give them something in return, you use their services. So they provide services in exchange for your information. So you go inside and you type in something, you're giving them an input which they can use to develop something else. And for that reason, they give you access to communicate, form your groups, share your links, send your photos and stuff like that. But all they are doing is they need maybe photos of animals or photos of faces or photos of cats. So they would make it free for everyone to use. And as many people that post the images, then they sort out the ones they are interested in. So if someone wants to learn about how animals grow and he wants to get pictures of animals of all ages, he creates a general space. Everybody is posting, so you are sending you pictures of your grandmom, your aunties, because maybe that's not their focus, and they are focusing just in dogs. They focus on just the dogs, and they get millions and billions of pictures of dogs, and now they can design a product for all dog users. So they take that information, you sharing your beautiful dog taking a walk in the park, use that information to create a product that a puppy master or a food selling company would need
Mhm,
to
mhm,
advertise the products of the puppy to you.
mhm,
So you are just getting free ability to share the nice moment of your puppy running in the park with your friends. But at the end of the day, the person who gave you the platform is using that input to feed a system that will predict the prices of how the puppy should be fed, the cost of grooming a puppy, and all that. Using the input to design a module that would help him market it or the people who buy the information from him to make money basically. So you move from a user to a product. So the platform is designed to make you a user,
mhm.
but in turn you become a product for the
A product.
platform.
That
Yeah.
is so it's so right how you put it. And there's this saying in the tech world and people who hang out around these things is whenever you can't see the product, you are
You
the
are the
product.
product. You are the product.
Whenever you're using an app like Facebook, like WhatsApp, like Twitter, and you don't actually see what they're generating, but you see them make billions and billions of dollars. Well, you are the product. And like we see was saying, basically people designed apps after the advent of the internet and everybody saw the applications. People designed apps that would basically create repositories. So initially we had databases, right? And it used to be a big word like database. If you can collect data on customers, on anybody, on users, you create this database, and now your power as a company was the database you have generated. But with Facebook, Twitter, and all these other apps, we moved to data lakes. So they became so big. The reservoirs became big. We call them data lakes. Now I think we are at the point where we have data oceans, like they're trillions and trillions and trillions of variables on you on the internet. Everything you've ever tweeted, everything you've ever typed, everything you've ever sent, sitting somewhere. And so if I want to do a sentiment analysis on you, I go to all the things you use for free, like your Twitter, all the tweets you posted and you took no money. I can generate variables as to your likes, your dislikes, your temperament, the things that drive you, the things that take you off, just by analyzing that data. And so that's what the free apps get. They're like, would you want to play with my toy? You're like, yeah, I want to play with that toy. They're like, you know what? You have to tell me everything about you. You're like, yeah, I want to use it. I'll tell you everything. Basically, that's what terms and conditions are. It's like, I want to know
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
about you. And AY, it's good you mentioned TikTok. TikTok literally tells you in the terms and conditions, I'm going to look at everything you're typing. I'm going to look at everything you're looking at. I'm going to get access to everything you ever saved on your phone, get access to your camera, get access to your location, everything. And you're like, accept. And so the minute you hit accept and you install TikTok, yeah, you're doing some dance videos. Yes, of course,
Yeah.
you're enjoying it, but basically, all you're doing is everything. You're reporting daily. Okay, today I woke up at this time. I ate this. I did that. You're basically reporting everything to the company, DanceBite, and DanceBite now sits on a ton of data. Especially, we talk about AI down the line, but when it comes to training AI, all you need is data. If you want an AI to basically mimic 5-year-olds, you need as much data on 5-year-olds as possible. And all these mothers posting videos of their kids doing TikTok dance, saying funny things, and all those internet sensations. Yes, people are collecting that data and training the AI. And so now the AI gives you results saying, like, oh, that sounds like a 5-year-old. Of course, because we all help train it. So
Yeah.
those are some of the things, the harms of these websites. But luckily these days there's a lot of protection that has come. Right now that we realize that tracking is a big issue, and some governments have taken a very hard line on tracking, now you can go almost everywhere. They ask you for your cookie preferences, right? What cookies do you want us to? Because you can't use websites without cookies, right? So you have to. There are some cookies that are absolutely essential for the functioning of the page you're on. But other than that, you can disable all those ones. You can go into your preferences and disable all those cookies, right? And so that they are not collecting data on how you're using the website, right? There are certain things, and before you hit I am not a robot on any website, please be mindful, because that button, that page is basically your granting permission to be treated as a data collection point. So
Yeah.
websites don't want bots to be getting on there and generating data. And so they put this blinder and they tell you, if you're a human, click all the bicycles. What they don't tell you is also that that request is also asking you, can we monitor your internet activity? Everything you did before you got to this point and everything you're going to do after this point. Are you okay with us taking the information? And most often people are like, I'm not a robot. Happily, they move on to go do
But if you
whatever they
say you're
do.
a robot, nobody's gonna let you in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
Yeah,
whole
but
point,
the
man.
issue is
But
not
that's the
about they
point.
not
They
letting
don't
you
want
in.
robots to get on there. They want human beings. So even when you're using apps like
Exactly.
ChatGPT, they're like, "Are you a robot?" You're like, "No, I'm a human being." They're like, "Okay, so we're going to monitor everything you're going to tell ChatGPT." You're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?
They
I want to use it."
monitor chat GPT.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So the chat GPT we're using now, and we're going to get into AI and chat GPT and all these
Yeah.
in detail.
Yeah.
But this is not the final version. We are helping them train the AI so that when it's ready for use, they're going to sell it to us. So basically, they've given birth to a child and they're like, can you help us take care of this child and take
Feed
him
it.
through
Yeah.
university? And whenever the child becomes a doctor, they're like, now you're going to have to pay $20 a month to see this doctor that you put through school, that you help train, that you help make perfect. But yeah, they told us at the beginning that they're recording everything. Everything you're putting on ChatGPT is being recorded and is being tied to you as an individual. And that's why they take your individual details, your name, your ID, everything. So now they are knowing that if Yaya is interested in asking about A, B, C, and D, this is all she lives for. Pretty much.
Just to make people a bit aware about the permissions. There are a lot of permissions that we grant applications. So I'll just run through a few of them. That we'll be mindful of what we share. I think the one that really irks me or like really I hate is people sharing their contacts with their applications. So
Mm.
you don't give permission, but your number is already sitting somewhere in a repository because a friend of yours installed the application and granted your contact to the application. So, for example, TikTok says, "Can I have all your contacts?" And you say yes. I was not part of installing the application, but my number is already with TikTok because you accepted it. The second one is your location. A lot of people don't see the relevance of it. But if I'm able to track where you spend time, how long you spend there, I can actually predict where you'll be in the near future. So your location is
Mhm.
the second most important thing for me. And
Enough.
background services. So like they have foreground and background services. So some of the applications run in the background, even if you're not using it on screen. That's not what you're using in the meantime. So it goes to sleep in your mind. You've closed the app, but what it's doing is still has access to everything you're doing. So once you go off the screen and you open another app, it tracks what you're doing on the different app in addition to what it's doing in the background. So you close your social media app, open your banking app, and do some transactions there. You're granting them permission to run in the background, get all the inputs that you feed it in. I don't know how malicious their intentions are, but they use all those information to learn from you. Another
Yep.
one, which is I think a lot of people get scared of, and I think now there are implementations that will make you know when your camera is in the background is being used and your microphone is being used. I think Apple tries to give you an orange and green dot to give you a fair idea of what's being used in the background. I think also access to files. So there are permissions you grant to applications to get access to files, to photos, to documents. I mean, to be able to share documents on, for example, WhatsApp, you have to give them access to your files
Your
system.
files. Yep.
And when you give them access to your file system, you just get open a gateway for them to get into your storage facility. So if you're storing everything offline, then you should know that they have access to it. And that's part of it. And I think one of the things I'll mention a few of the ones that are super relevant, like your calendar, your Bluetooth access, and also like authentication accounts. So like using your face, your fingerprint, and stuff like that to unlock specific apps. All those are permissions you grant to the applications. So I always tell people if it's not needed, don't install it. If you don't really
Mm,
need an application,
mm,
just don't
But
install it.
Chrissy, you
mm,
just said
mm.
that even if I don't install it and my kid sister is using TikTok, she has my information on her phone and then it will still be out there.
Yes, it
So when
will,
you say
but then there's a
contact,
difference,
yeah,
right? There's a difference, right? There's a difference in people gathering information on you through you and people gathering information on you through others. And again, yes, there are things we don't consent. For example, Truecaller. It's one of those
yeah,
apps
that's the
that
example I was going to
everybody
use.
was
Yeah.
marveling whenever someone calls you and you see the number immediately. But what Truecaller really is an aggregator. It's basically like it's aggregating all the numbers people have saved and the names they've saved it with. So when someone calls you on a strange number, it goes into the directory Truecaller has and looks at how people have saved that name. Right. And so if I've saved Quasi Frost as Quasi Frost in my phone, Quasi has saved a Quasi Frost. If you have saved a Quasi Frost, then if Quasi Frost calls, say, Mr. Song, and Song hasn't saved it, if he has Truecaller, right, Truecaller would match that number to the ones we have saved and give him that name. So whenever Truecaller is predicting the name, it's because of all the people who have saved your number and then have Truecaller and given permissions to Truecaller to basically copy their contact list and put it in a repository. And so whenever a new number comes in, they go to that repository and then look for the matching name and then tell you. And so these are ways where people give your information to the internet applications without knowing. But with these ones, again, there's a level of damage they can do, and we're not even just saying this to make people panic and all that. It's knowing that this is the reality on the ground helps you navigate these spaces. Like we see rightly pointed out, people just download apps because how many apps on your phone that you've never opened in the last 2 years, but they're still there gathering information, collecting data. Like if you don't need the app on your phone, just don't install it. Don't keep it on your phone.
I mean,
Like,
there's
But
and
what
in
if
all
you've
this.
created an account with the app already, right? And let's say you've forgotten the password, the details to log in, and you're like, okay, I don't need this again, and then you delete the app from your phone. They still have your account, don't they?
yeah, they will, but you can
I
close all
mean,
that and
So
still
they
discontinue.
have the data up to that point. So if anything has changed around you, they don't have your updated
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, but in all this, guys, see, it's not even about. I know because you were saying we're saying this not to instill fear in anybody. What's the bottom line? There's money to be made,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Look at it that way, right? All these companies collecting data. You think what they like you so much they want to know everything about you? No, they want to sell you something,
Yep.
Yeah.
or
Yep.
sell your info to somebody that wants to sell you something. So if there's 200 companies and I got your data, if I can sell you something, I'm gonna sell you to the 200 other companies so they can try to sell you something,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And the human brain works like they know we're humans. If they
Mm-hmm.
keep showing you one fancy nice stuff every day,
They'll
it's just a
get
matter
you.
of time before you grab your
They'll
credit card
get
and buy
you.
one of them, right?
And
Yeah.
it's so true. That is so true. That is what the internet has
So,
basically become. Make a cool app that everybody uses and then sell those users to your advertisers. And we call that advertising. We don't call it
yeah.
selling people's data. We say we're advertising, right? And so we say, oh, how does Facebook make money? Oh, advertisement. How does YouTube make money? Oh, advertisement. Oh, how does Twitter make money? Oh, advertisement. How is advertisement made? Well, they collect data on their users and they go to the companies and they're like, oh, you need people who need what pens and paper. They're going back to school. Well, I have 6 million students. Here are the information. Go advertise to them. So you open your Twitter account, and just when you're about to go to school, every ad you're seeing is about where you can get the deals on pens, deals on notebooks, deals on tablets. Yes, because your information was sold. And so yes, you're using the app to connect with your friends, but basically you're saying, here is me, take me and go and sell me as a product.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's also like not the worst thing that can ever happen to you in the sense that personalized ads can be very useful, right? For example, as Kojo mentioned, if you're a student, you might not know all the good deals on the market. So if you, I'm not saying sell your soul to the devil, but once you give your information
Basically.
out there, it could be
Mhm.
useful in the sense that if you want the best deal on the market, like Black Friday, you're a student, you need a fast, maybe you're into gaming or something like that, you need a gaming PC. You might not be able to visit all the websites to find which one has the good deal. You get
Mhm.
something that's more customized to you. But
Mhm.
just being aware that it's not coming for free. I always use the example of emails. We send emails across, bouncing around each other. We don't pay a dime for using Gmail. You have a 15 gigabyte storage on G Drive,
Yeah.
and you have all your
Yep.
photos there.
Right. Yep.
You're not paying for it. They ask you to pay for it, and you decline. Just go and delete all the old pictures and just
Oh
create and space and
my
add some more.
god.
It's not
How do they make
free. You
money?
have to find a way to power the servers that are storing your information.
Yep.
So it's just a barter trade. You give me something, I take something from you, we
Scratch
exchange,
my back,
we
I
keep
scratch
it
yours.
rolling and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Which is
I could be,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, and then we are going to dive into that conversation where now we are going to contribute to developing and creating something. And before we do that, I'm going to read a comment. But what we're going to be talking about is artificial intelligence, our role in it, how we are going to partake in this new age of the internet. It's changing. Yes, we have to take our security seriously. Yes, we have to know the trading. So the first part of the conversation was knowing that well, there's going to be a trade-off. And secondly, is like now we've understood what is happening. How can we helpfully contribute? How can we contribute in the right way? But before we get into that, let me go through some of their comments because today is going to be a lot of fun. Rashid said, Efia, only SKs read the terms and conditions before installing applications. I don't know about that. I tried it the other day because iOS improved. There was a new iOS drop this week and they improved a lot of their security. And boy, oh boy, they've encrypted things so bad that Apple will tell you, listen, if you lose your key, we can't even help you. Like we're making this almost impregnable. And now that is the level I am on. Now Apple is afraid that if I lose there's no way to reset your account. Basically, you're screwed. You're putting it under Fort Knox. But yeah, I tried to read the terms and conditions and my brain exploded after the first 300 pages. So yes, Dorcas Echan is saying, hello, PUI Radio. Hello, Dorcas. Welcome to the show. I'm at work. We
The
hope work is going well. We hope work is going well and you're not selling anybody's data on at work. Mr.
Yes.
Song says, A lot of us do not take
That's
security
true.
advice until we're in trouble. Backing up files, contacts, and using passcodes. Yes. Don't wait till it's too late, please, guys. Start
That's
taking your
true.
security serious. And that's why we're having this show. Like, we know a lot of us live on the internet and we can't afford not to be there, but there are safe ways to be there. There are ways to know, well, this is what I'm getting myself into and navigating the space, knowing which apps to keep on your phone and which ones not to. Dorcas is asking, why is Onukpa so serious like that? Please
Ah.
smile. Mr. Song is adding on to it. Onukpa, smile small. Dorcas is coming back to laugh at that. I'd watch y'all later. Bye. Bye, Dorcas. We hope you enjoy your time at work. Y'all, leave Kwesi alone. He is having MC. Um, Kwesi, my brother needs. Let's move on. Could you just to top on your point on data oceans? Just tell everyone to Google their full name. Yep, and you see just how much information is out there. And we talk about Google and all this, especially with the
I'll
fun
check
news.
after.
There's so much fun going on with Google and all that, and it's so funny. We're going to dive right into that after this pause. I am sure that that is why I see fine girls on my Twitter feed every morning. They must know everything. They must know something I don't know. Yeah, song. Twitter has figured you out. It knows that you really are into the fine girl things, and in the morning, seeing a few pictures of very wonderful ladies makes your day a lot brighter. And so definitely that's why. Hey, Obiba JK. Obiba JK said hello, Ebusiafo. Hello, Obiba JK. We hope you're doing well. The look on Efia's face when he said ChatGPT tracks hair was priceless. Absolutely. She will talk about her experience with ChatGPT very soon. Efia has given up already. The
Oh
lally is
yeah, I've given up.
cracking
I've
up.
given up. But at this
Well,
point, I have.
Rashid said, nobody. Hello, ChatGPT. I'm 30 and a half years old. I saw a girl on the Cancer podcast called Efia. Who is she? ChatGPT. Hey, Massa, go and sit down. That is so true. The minute you said you are 30 plus, ChatGPT will tell you, listen, there's no way. There's no way. Mr. Song says, now I feel used and cheated. Mr.
Now
Song,
you
I
Who
know.
know.
used you?
Now you know how your ex girlfriend feels, right?
Hey, shots fired. Shots fired. I mean, they've been coming for Kwesi all game long, all
Yeah,
episode long.
I had to punch back, man.
Kwesi
I
just
needed.
punch back, and that is
Oh my god.
I do not condone emotional damages like this on the show, but that's one I can let slide. They deserve it. Song has been after you all episode long. And if you're here, please, if you're in the comment section, please let us know what you are thinking, especially about the things you've learned about the internet and the new things. If you've learned something new and you're in the chat right now, let us know. If you're watching the rerun and you did learn something new, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and tell us something. Leave a comment. A lot of times people just leave the comments in the live stream and they don't leave any comments in the post show. Listen, we need the comments everywhere. We need the likes, we need the comments. And if you haven't done that, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let the internet get to know that you like the Casa podcast so that it will give you more Casa podcast. Basically, that's what YouTube is doing. It's like, tell me the things you like so that I can give you more of the things you like. So, like the Casa podcast so that the internet will give you more Casa podcast. If you don't, Casa podcast might have to start getting your data and we'll have to. Listen, we have to do. We're giving you a free service, so we have to figure out where to make money. But instead of the point of the podcast is not to leave people feeling cheated and to leave people feeling like this is a bad place. That's also a good side to the internet. And so in our last segment, we're going to dive into AI and the fun things that these wonderful tools can basically help us achieve, right? And I'll start that off with the latest updates in the tech world, at least in the AI wars. And we'll do that and we'll dive into these things and what they truly are. But for those of you who were not paying attention, this week was a mega, it was like a Donkey Kong versus King Kong kind of fight. What is it? King Kong versus what? Godzilla. And so we have the two powerhouses in terms of internet search, right? Let me not say powerhouse. There was a powerhouse, which was Google, and there was a tiny little boy called Bing. And for a long
Bing.
time, Microsoft Bing has been the joke of the internet search engine world. Like Bing is nothing compared to Google. But over time, Google has not changed since the early days of the internet. For like 20 years, Google has stayed pretty much the same. It's basically a repository that catalogs all the information on the internet. And whenever you search, it puts weights on your search parameters and then brings you the most convenient results. But over time, the more people are figuring out how this Google thing works, they've come up with things called the search engine optimizers, SEOs. And I use it in the show shamelessly. A lot of YouTubers use it, a lot of people use it, where you look at words that people are searching for the most, keyword searches, and then you put those in your description, in your title, in your show. You say that so many times that whenever people go on Google, you trick the algorithm to put your products first. So companies figured this out, and instead of paying for ads, they just wrote article after article after article about their product, and they put it on Google. So Google is broken, and Google needed some help. And the way they wanted to help was to use artificial intelligence to help learn about the users. Again, AY, this is it. They're not trying to make their product better. They're trying to know you better so that the product would work better for you. and so, and
Yeah.
so we switched to the AI race. And OpenAI came on the scene and developed a couple of AI products, right? And it was very bad at the beginning, and everybody helped chip in and help develop. So one of the products was DALI, which I love. It's an image generating app where you go and you basically give it a prompt. Give me a picture of a young woman listening to music. And then DALI just generates a random image. It's not a picture of an individual, but the AI basically looks at all pictures of people listening to music and then stitches something together and gives you a unique image that is just for you. And then there was ChatGPT, which was basically like Siri on steroids. Basically, you could talk to it and ask about anything. You can literally design almost everything from scratch by just communicating with ChatGPT. ChatGPT basically gets to know you and gives you the response you need. And so it's able to hold conversations without you having to describe the search parameters, right? And so you can ask for something one time. So when I'm in Ghana, how do I get from Kaneshi to Usu? Once you ask it that and you're within that context, you can be like, okay, so what are the trotro fares? You don't have to explain the initial parameter. It knows the conversation you're having. So like, just like you're talking to your friend, you can stay on topic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ChatGPT basically was you communicating with artificial intelligence on topic until you sweep or clean up the memory, the cache, right? It keeps hold of everything. So you ask it in the morning, hey, what is the weather going to be like today? And it tells you what it's going to be like. You can just go back and be like, is it going to rain? It's not going to think it's tomorrow or last week. It knows that you're talking about the weather today and in this particular city. So it keeps going like that. And I've had a conversation that has been going for almost a month. And I still stay in it because we're still on topic. And so basically, it changed the game. And like a month ago, Microsoft made an offer to ChatGPT, OpenAI, for $4 billion, and Microsoft acquired OpenAI and all the stuff in there. Then they implemented it in their Microsoft Edge, the browser, and now Bing went from being nothing to being the newest boy on the block, the newest game in town. And so they did a whole review where the Microsoft CEO, Nedela, and his team came and did this wonderful presentation. And Google saw that, and the next day they're like, and he actually called Google out. He's like, listen, we're going to make them dance, and we want you to remember we made them come to dance, because Microsoft had, a card up their sleeve. And Google rushed to respond. And let's just say it was not a response. They lost $100 billion during their presentation and after. Like, they were just hemorrhaging money. People were just taking out money from Google. Alphabet is the parent company for Google. And so this week, that's what happened in the AI world. For those of you who were not up to date, so now this is where we are starting the conversation: the battle between Google and Microsoft. Quincy Frost, I know you followed. I know you listened to the experts and people talk about it. Number one, what's your feeling? And number two, who are you rooting for? Google or Google or
Um,
Microsoft?
I'm gonna stay neutral and say, but then I kind of like the idea of the competition, right? Like checkmate. Okay, I was a little dog and I want to be the big dog. I'm pushing the big dog now. I like that, right? Because it brings competition brings innovation, right?
Mm.
So now I think Google's gonna go back and say, okay, we just had our asses handed
Handed
to
to
us,
us.
right? So and it's funny they called them out. They were being, like letting them know, like checkmate,
Coming
because
for you.
to be honest, man, I don't even remember the last. I used to open a browser, and even at work, like work computer, right? Because we have a lot of Microsoft products, so it will automatically goes to like
Bing.
Bing, and I will use Bing to search
Look for
Google.
Google. That is so true. The
And
most search thing for in Bing
yeah,
is Google.
exactly.
Can
Is
you
It's
take
Google,
me to a
Google.
right?
better?
Yeah,
Can you take me to a
yeah.
better
Yeah, because
search engine?
it used to be really, really trash. Like it used to be real trash. So
Oh my god!
I'll use the Bing page to search Google just to go on Google and search look for what I want to see.
Oh
Like
my god!
so I
That's
like
the reality though. That's a sad
yeah,
reality.
yeah. So I like this. I like what it's called.
Well, no,
I
I'm
like
glad
I
it's
like
not
this.
an underdog anymore because Chat
Yeah,
GPT is so interesting, honestly.
right. But
And
see,
And
mhm,
what I'm if you have Chat GPT, right, and then
mhm.
Bing is gonna incorporate that into their system and make your search more efficient, right? Um, I don't know I don't know what is gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
Because we go into AI and people scream about jobs being lost and
mhm,
all that. But
mhm,
what I see is, it, when back then they were using this like admins were using typewriter,
Typewriter, yeah.
right? And then Microsoft Word came to the office with keyboards and a computer, so you had to learn how to use Microsoft Word and a keyboard to write your letters and whatever, right? So then it was up to me and you, the admins, to
mhm,
decide: are you gonna learn Word or are you
mhm.
gonna be a
Stick with
dinosaur?
the
Right? Because if you don't learn Word and how to
you're
use a
left
keyboard,
behind.
you are a dinosaur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's gonna be AI could be good. There's gonna be jobs created, but different type of jobs.
Mm,
So it's gonna be
absolutely.
up to employees or whatever stakeholders,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
to to learn skill that can transform,
Mm-hmm.
transferable skills, or new add to their what they know now. Add like learn new skills, because if you're not learning, you're dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mhm.
don't learn it, then you are gonna be a dinosaur. Your
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
job is gonna be gone,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So that's the thing.
Yep.
That's how I like AI. I think it can make our life easier, right? Even though there are bad people in the world,
Absolutely.
regardless of every sector,
Yep.
right? So people are going to use it to do bad things, but we can't just look at that and say, "Oh, we're not going to
Mm-hmm.
innovate," right?
Embrace it and incorporate it. And
Yeah. So this competition is going to bring innovation, and I like
yep.
it. I'm here for
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I like how you mentioned that it's a legit fear, and I'm sure everyone on the show has probably had it in one way or the other. AI is going to take
Mhm.
people's jobs. The AI is going to keep people out of a job. And I remember Kwesi and I were on our family platform, we're having this conversation about AI, and I was like, the modification is that AI is not going to steal your job, but the people who know how to use AI are definitely going to steal your jobs.
Yeah.
And so again, one of the points of this podcast is to encourage people to embrace it and get in at the ground floor. Most of the time, we're late adapters to technology, and it's not just AI. It's been since the beginning of time. Even the abacus, that people were like, this abacus is going to lead us straight to hell. And they were late adapters of the technology. And the people who got in at the ground floor created innovative things that by the time they got to learn how to use the abacus, they were using calculators. And people who took time adapting calculators, and so at least for the listeners of the show and the viewers, people watching us, please don't get left behind. The world is changing. Like the stories we're hearing and the uses and the applications we can use these AI for, please get on the ground floor. Don't let if you are your boy and Kwesi for us leave you behind, because Kwesi Poku there, he's gone. He's gone. He has this AI thing. He's probably on AI 2.3. Kwesi, what are some of the other things when it comes to AI, especially with the one, who are you rooting for? And two, where do you think this is going to go?
I mean, it's going to change the way humans think. That's the first thing I'll mention. Like, it's going to really transform the way we think. Just like Chrissy Frost, like the example you used. An example I always come back to is when the film industry was scared of using CGIs, and people were doing crazy stunts.
Yep.
Jack Chan would jump over buildings and moving cars, and people were dying. And now Michael Bay does a movie, and they're like explosions all over the place, and you're into the movie, but no one actually died. They are moving, and we enjoy those. I mean, we watch Avatar, and everybody's trooping to the cinema to go and see Avatar and all the nice movies. These were things that were capable because of the internet and technology, and basically using these artificial intelligence to assist us get the finest out of it. It gets interesting when it crosses the line to when people feel the direct impact. I mean, if it's the movie world, no one really cares. But now that it's more trained to the daily use of it, then we start having questions. So, for example, ChatGPT now can give me something that I have to take hours for, and I'm scared because the person sitting at the library is not getting people to ask her questions about when was the first dinosaur found and the year the archaeologists discovered something. So we are scared for the librarian who won't be getting these questions any longer. But then it's all about jumping on the train early on. So if you understand how these things work as a librarian, you can actually make the most out of your space just because you understand how it works. So artificial intelligence scare the crap out of people because they just don't want to understand the potential of it. Once you break it down to smaller facets, then everybody now see the relevance of these things. So one of the things one of the applications no one is scared to mention is assisted surgery, using AI for assisted surgeries. So now you are able to locate the specific location of a tumor of a specific thing in your body using artificial intelligence. So you scan your whole body, and they are able to know exactly the depth and estimate how long the surgery will take. And all these things are information that we are able to achieve because we're using the technology. And no one questions the morality of it. The surgeons are not fighting it because it's making their work faster and easier. Now, like a lot of treatments have been expedited because we have like simpler ways of tackling the complex issues using AI. And no one questions it because we feel it's improving our lives. The next one that's also a little controversial is self-driving cars. I know it depends on where you live in the world. It might be a no or a no for you because
should I snitch on you?
No, yeah. So you know the famous runabout. You see when you're doing your driving license in Kumasi, those who live in Kumasi, there's a huge runabout in Kumasi. So runabout. It's the epitome of all stupidity of driving. So if you're able to drive around the runabout, you literally pass the test to get your license. Because that's like the climax of all insanity driving.
It used to be the busiest traffic circle in West Africa.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the first time hearing.
Is it huge? How is it like?
It is huge, but it's not just the size. It's just a busy. It's a 5 or 6
five
lane. It's a 5-lane traffic circle. So it's 5 different intersections coming.
So there's like 5 exits.
Yes. on one
Yes,
That's
traffic
orange is
circle.
crazy.
negative.
That's
So
that's
yeah,
crazy.
It should be an interchange, but
yeah,
it is not. It's a traffic
yeah,
circle.
yeah.
As you can
It's
imagine,
mental.
we're all just doing
Wow.
the whole yield thing, and nobody yields. And they're like six
And
lanes.
one day
Yield to the only lane.
understanding of how the cycle works, I think it's something a lot of people don't know how cycle works. So the exiting in, coming in, that's a different conversation. So just imagine this whole cluster of cars controlled by a artificial intelligence, where you can actually communicate among the cars when to stop and when to go. Instead of
In
spending hours in the traffic,
Kumasi, Ghana.
No. In the world, we're talking about the application of
in the
software.
world.
Oh,
So the
okay.
thing is,
So
your car is going to time its route, right? Basically, coordinate with all the other cars in the road. That two cars are not getting to the same place at the same time.
at
Because
the same time,
before you take off, the cars have planned the route. They've planned where everyone is going to be, and so there's this. It's basically like synchronized diving for cars. That's what
But it's not a case
efficiency,
for
like
Kumasi, Ghana, right?
it will solve the problem
we're
there. Do you know
hoping
the
that
number
we'll
of
get
people
there.
who won't die
We're
because
hoping.
of that? I mean, that's the thing. If you look at the problem now and looking at the potential solution artificial intelligence can grant us, then you maybe appreciate it more. On the other hand, for example, driving on the highway can be very boring. Like you're just going on a straight way and you're just doing
Yeah.
nothing. You have to stay attentive to it. But if this assisted driving system is taking you to it, then you can focus on other things. Not to say just stop
Mhm.
concentrating, but it gives you the leverage to maybe check a quick email, answer some calls, stay interactive and stuff like that. So this would give you like a relief and assist you to get to do something more efficient. And
Augment
so
your
there are a
ability.
number of applications that like would a simple one in Ghana I'm hoping we can implement is the smart traffic lights. So when you get to intersections,
Mhm.
I'm going to use the Okonglo for example. If you've been in Okonglo traffic, you understand what traffic lights actually does to us. It moves at it's not smart. So even if the cars on one side are left, those coming from Bauleshi towards
Mm-hmm.
Legon, there are not a lot of cars there, but the time is constant. So if it has to run for 20 minutes, to 20, let's say minutes, it still runs regardless of whether the street is empty, whether there are no
Yeah.
humans,
Yep.
and we get a huge jam all the way to Sankara, or like all the way to 37 sometimes,
Yep.
and you waste hours of your life sitting in traffic. But if you could implement an artificial intelligence system that would determine the number of cars to make these things move in a very smart way to relieve us of a lot of problems. But when we
Mhm.
say AI, everyone is now thinking of I'll be going out of job, I'll turn
No,
into
don't you blame the Terminator series for all this? Like before we
I
even
know
developed the
commando.
technology, Commando had already come, and then the bots were taking over, the robots were taking over. So we have this
Yeah.
antagonistic approach to the AI discussion. And then again, the show, the goal is to at least alleviate some of the fears by one outlining what the problem truly is. It's not like the internet is the loveliest place. There are the problems with the apps we're using, the internet as we have it. But then again, there are also tools that are on there that can help us overcome this. And back to the AI conversation, right? One other thing I want to think about, and at least listeners of the show should start thinking about, is the current internet is not perfect. There are a lot of problems wrong with the current internet we use it, right? The current internet space. Just like that, there are going to be a lot of issues with the AI space we're going to navigate. This is a time to be innovative. Think of the problems and start finding solutions. I'll give you a good example. One way ChatGPT is being abused is students who are supposed to write reports. Say they are supposed to write a report on Kofua's presidency. They go and they ask ChatGPT, give me a report on Kofua's presidency. They copy and paste it in their app and they turn it in. Now, there's an avenue for people to now create applications that can detect if the work turned in was AI generated. And so now, right there's a problem, and whoever finds the solution is going to make a boatload of money, is going to really solve a lot of problems. There's so many ways people can use the AI technology in malicious ways.
Mhm.
Finding solutions to these malicious ways. One, thinking about the ways people can misuse it. And two, coming up with the products that would help the misuse is going to set people on the path to be the next billionaires. And I love the people on the show. I really want people to start thinking about problems that would arise. How would you know if two AIs are giving you a bad information? Right? If your AI is misleading you, how would you know? Someone who can create a fact checker for the AI, basically using AI to fact check itself, because human beings cannot fact check the AIs, right? And so
Mhm.
I know for a long time, Project Debater was one developed by IBM, right? Basically, it was an AI that would write its own debate scripts and debate human beings. Well, Project AI never won any game, any real debates, but people figured out what the problem with Project AI was, and that's how we got Lambda and Chat GPT and all that. The AI technology is not fully developed. There's still flaws. There's still cracks in there. I remember when Kasparov, who was the world's grandmaster in chess at the time, played an AI in chess. It's like, oh my god! Like once if he loses, humanity is gone. But then, yes, he lost a few games, he won a few games, but we realized that's not the final point. And so we kept developing. And from that, there's so many other projects that have come up. So ChatGPT is great, but you can create the next thing. Just like Facebook was great, and someone came up with Twitter and Facebook and all and TikTok and all that. There's so much creativity left. There's so many questions AI can help us address. The other day, I saw a doctor basically put ChatGPT to test, where they report symptoms like patients would come and present in the hospital,
Mhm.
and then ChatGPT would give them a response like a doctor. And you could see that it wasn't there, but the doctor was like, this is like a 9/10. So it's going to augment and help the doctors do their work. So if you could create something for teachers, if you could create something for young people who want to create a podcast, if you can create an AI that would help them develop content, you're going to make a ton of money. So someone listening to the show right now should get some creative AI innovative ideas and start solving the problems of tomorrow. That's how we're going to get the next Mark Zuckerberg from the tribe. And please, if you make the money, remember, don't remember if you're
Reference the
don't
link.
remember Kwesi first. Don't remember Kwesi. Remember
Me, I
Kujo.
want
Kujo.
me, I
Just
want
10 billion will be
I,
fine.
I want TikTok. I want TikTok gone. We need something better. I want it gone. We need something better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
and
you're
also
a
like,
boy,
Yeah.
yeah,
AY,
you're
do you
talking a
have
bit
anything on
about
AI?
Chrissy, you say something over Kujo. You said
Kwesi, let
something,
AI
Chrissy.
yeah.
say let AY say something on AI, okay?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
AY, say
Chrissy.
something about AI.
Nothing. All I know is I've been talking to Chat GPT and it's fun. It's been fun.
AY is treating ChatGPT like a boyfriend,
Oh
asking for
my
emotional connections
goodness.
You know, it's
with the
funny. I've
thing.
never used it though.
And someone
You
was
never use
claiming to be
ChatGPT.
the.
No.
I'm
But
going to
could
share
I
something.
thought the Snake title was supposed to be for a fair. It looks like you take on
The what? The snitching.
the Snitch title.
It's not hers.
I've
I mean, I
never
can't.
been the snitch on the show. But like it goes over people's head because he's gonna mention oh if you're snitch, but he's the one snitching.
So guys, for those of you watching, I just wanted to share something small with you. Quizzy, this is my only thing about ChatGPT that I don't like at the moment. Look at this right here.
The
Upgrade.
So
plus.
so now that it became fun and we're enjoying using it, they hit us with this one.
Oh, the plus.
Of
They are like
course.
ChatGPT Plus. You can
And that's
have
expensive
availability
though.
on high. Yeah, $20 a month,
20
bro.
a month is a lot. Like
People
Twenty
that's a
do a
lot
dollars
of
lot
a
money.
with it,
month.
Chrissy. People do a lot to Chat GPT.
That's
So I
true. But
get it. I get it why it's $20 a
Yeah,
month. They
but
do
they
a lot.
need like a maybe a pro account, whatever, maybe $3, $5, 20. Like you can't
you
just
need to
price
give,
it
yeah, you need
20
to
for
definitely
everybody.
give
Like no.
people different price points. One price point for everybody 20. That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit, in
Okay,
my
you also
opinion.
have to
Yeah.
understand, like it's a new product, right? So they are also now trying to find out based on responses and how the numbers are going to drop in order to strategize their markets and stuff.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what I also wanted to point out is that when it comes to these things, it starts as a school project. Someone
Hmm.
just goofing around with something. So the objective was not probably not to make money, but to make it more efficient. But now
Hmm.
that he's seeing the turnover and he's seeing the interest, he's now going to have to milk out all the things he invested. So sometimes the initial price is like mental. We all were here when this guy alone came with the
No, but he's
nine
increased it
dollar per month.
eight
This is
eight
like
dollars now. It's gone
that's
up to
someone who is rich.
$11.
And yeah, and this is coming from someone who's already made it. So just imagine the small boy who's now trying to figure it out
Yeah, I heard,
side off.
guys. So I don't know. I think ChatGPT was the one that they had a lot of labor from Kenya, right? Because you
Really?
know Kenya has a lot of big tech scene. Like,
I
is
didn't know
that?
that.
Yeah, somebody accused him. I think they said they had
Hmm.
like cheap
So, but
labor
because I was
from
explaining to
Kenya.
AY
Yeah,
yesterday that they used human training for a lot of
yeah,
the
yeah,
chat
yeah.
Yeah.
It
GPT.
was in Kenya. Yeah, I think
So
it was
whenever
Chat
you would
GPT. Yeah.
request an answer, there will be people
Mhm.
who would be vetting it to say,
Yep.
because the AI is just generating stuff, right? And so they would
Yeah.
generate
So
like
those
five different
yeah.
answers, and then the people would
Yeah.
score it
Okay.
on how intelligible it is and how close to a human response it is. And that's how
Oh,
the AI was trained. So like with Dali, it generates a picture, and people would have to vet them, and even the users still do that. We still do that where it generates images and you tell it, well, that is good, that is bad, and we're still training it. So ChatGPT, yes, definitely under training. But for me, $20 is a lot because they just got $4 billion. Like, you guys had nothing, and now you got a $4 billion
But
well,
investment.
it's
could you
whoever paid
Who
4 billion
overpaid for the
is
four
the one
billion is the
charging
one
you the
charging
twenty
20.
dollars. They need your 4 billion
Yeah,
back.
that's true. I guess Microsoft is the one charging us, but then that's
Yeah.
why you can use it for free on Bing. So now instead of using Google, you go to Bing.
Can it does it write
but
code?
that's the thing.
Oh yeah,
So that
Yeah, it writes
it's going
codes.
to
that is all I use it for actually. Like
Oh,
I've
maybe
never.
I'll try it. I wanted it to write me a super complicated SQL query.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm
So
gonna
so
try it.
generally I would take a long time. I'll spend hours looking in GitHub for people's old codes, trying to figure out and redo codes. And I found ChatGPT, and now I've never been to GitHub since I met ChatGPT. Like I just go, and that's the thing with also ChatGPT. And if you want to use it, and this is why people should get using it early, you get better at designing the queries as you use it more.
over
The more
time.
you
Yeah.
use it, because initially I would write long queries and they would give me codes that were not specific enough. But the more
Hmm.
I got to know how to present my query, now it's like, it's like a calculator. You put garbage in, you get garbage out. So
Yeah.
if you have no idea of what code you're looking at, it will give you code and you wouldn't know. But the more you use it and you refine it, and it knows how to give me code in every single language I'm working with, right? But yeah, it cut down my time coding like by like 5 days. I can do 5 days of work in one day. It's just that I keep telling my friends I always get banned because you can only send a certain number of queries in an hour. And sometimes when I'm busily working, like in the hour, I can send like 100 and like take a break. Like you're jamming up the
Oh,
system.
really?
Go sit in the back. Yeah. Oh, I get
Yeah.
timed out so
Yeah.
many times
Yeah. So
because
now
it's like
understand why they have
going
to
up.
charge you $20.
Oh yeah.
And people
Because
use it for a lot of
you see
things.
now that the traffic going to their website is going to be mental. So they have to find good ways
It's.
to be able to manage the traffic, right? And one of
Mhm.
the things you were mentioning about someone mentioned something about the Kenyan guys. To really understand how the network is built, like the neural network behind the chat GPT is built, you
Mhm.
need someone to validate something and tell the machine that this is what
This
this
is
is.
correct.
So
Mhm.
it you give an input and you label it. So it learns from the input and the labels over time to build a brain, sort of this, just like the way our brains work. Your mom tells you this is that, this is that, this is that, and over time your brain builds the connection. So it's stored in the brain somewhere. So whenever you say, give me a message about A, B, C, D, based on the parameters you put inside, is able to put out something based on what it was trained on. So
Mhm.
when they opened it first, what they were doing is when you search for something, they would check whether what you got was satisfying to you based on your response time and stuff like that. So you're more like endorsing what is length. So they were using us to, that's why it was free, using us to further enforce the network to make it more smarter. So the more we using, the more we putting in complex, more simplified, it's boosting the efficiency of the network to a point that you have to pay a premium to get the refined version. So the free version will be for the trainers, putting in, helping them make more, become more finer,
Mhm.
and those
Mhm.
getting the $20 a month will get like the crisp information. So once they put it inside, you're getting like the best outputs. Yeah. And I think one of the things we left out when it comes to artificial intelligence, you were talking about ideas of how people can
Mhm.
use this thing
Mhm.
to help
Mhm.
solve problems.
To
I
become
think in Ghana,
billionaires.
one of the big ideas I would probably put out there is how we can leverage it in agriculture.
Mm. Mm.
They are
Mm.
like simple predictors of like prices, yield of, and we already have the input, we have the land, we have the farm produce and stuff like that. If you're able to build an AI module that will be able to predict estimate the amount of cocoa Ghana is going to sell, for example, it will change the game of the people in Ghana, we Ghanaians. It will change our
Yeah.
lives. If you're
Yeah.
able to
Eh,
estimate how much tomato we're going to grow, how much
yep.
maize we need, so that you grow according to the amount, so that you don't produce in excess.
Hmm.
And I think someone
Absolutely.
should be able to do
I think it's a very brilliant idea. And for those of you listening, this is one of those light bulb moments. Production economics in Ghana, agri production economics is a very crazy thing to navigate. Now we have the power of AI. Let's leverage that to come up with some creative solutions. If you can be able to map out how much farmland should be used for what and predict out like outcomes like yield, you can really help farmers boost a lot. Like sometimes a lot of them are doing trial and error. If you can design models, AI models that would really help support their production decisions. Kwesi has just dropped a gold making um, um, idea. Someone should pick this up, please. If you're watching the Casa podcast and you love this idea, number one, leave a thumbs up on the video. Number two, share this video with your friends. Like else, we'd have to find AI to look for you. I would have to ask ChatGPT probably for all those people who are watching the show and not sharing and not leaving the thumbs up and leave a comment. I'm going to read a few of the comments and we're going to wrap up. Today, the conversation has really kept going because it looks like we really love talking about AI. Happy Socks Day, Mr. Frogs. I don't know if it's Prince Poku. Hey, Prime, you should come back on the show. It's been a minute, but yeah, the Swami runabout is really wide. It is wide. Smart traffic intersection based on the information that the drivers are given of, depending on the signal, usual route, etc. That's the future. Absolutely. Like AI cars is definitely the future. That is where we're headed next. And so please get your AI licenses so you can drive AI cars. Else you'll be too late. Kwejo, please end the show with "Hasta la vista, baby." Say it the Terminator way. Yes, sir. I'm gonna do that for you, Rashid. That is a very wonderful command. Just to keep it AI, I would definitely do that. Interesting ideas, Kobe. Kobe, you also have to come back and share some ideas with us. I know you have a lot of very wonderful AI ideas. Um, Rashid is saying, Kojo, human intelligence is supreme. We just need to understand that we feed the AI with information. So when we stop thinking and provide, when we stop thinking and providing info, and what is going to happen? The bots will take over. Yeah, Michael is saying when you see car, let's say it's pricey. Kwesi, apparently you don't have money and you're complaining about how pricey ChatGPT is. ChatGPT, I have already had this convo. Yeah, Michael, and we really have to continue the conversation. I know you're going to open up a space and we're all going to come join and we're going to keep discussing this a lot farther because we couldn't finish everything on the show today. Nana Kosia, your boy Dra, if you're your boy sister, I'm
Ah,
putting all the
did you
information
have
out.
to add
Oh,
I
that?
am putting all the information out.
oh,
Nana
that's your
Akosia
fierce.
Yebuadra. If you're your
That's
boy
your
sister,
sister.
Yeah, that's
it's
my
saying
sister.
it solves
Oh, we need
SQL
to.
queries.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah,
bring her on the show. Two sisters.
we have to. We
Oh
have to.
no.
That would be great. We have
Out.
to work on that. We have to work on
Yeah.
that. Nano Fori should be here listening and presenting these ideas. We would work on getting Nano Fori back into the building. There's so many questions I want to have with Nano Fori, to be honest. Chrissy, however, some inputs vary on a wide range. Weather conditions are one. Some other variables are not considered. For instance, our road network and the rural areas are terrible. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
so true. And that's why AI can only help. AI is not going to come to fix everything, but in the models,
Mm-mm.
I mean, AI can be able to look at the climate, right? Weather conditions over a longer period and make, again, a hazard guesses that would be closer to average. And I'm sure you would factor in all the errors, in your models, right? You'd account for some of these errors. But yeah, definitely, there's things we can think about. And Rashid, if you're interested, you can get with Quincy and a few other ag people, and we can see if we can develop something. Michael is saying, I know for you should be here to listen to these conversations and present them to Mahama. Um, um, Michael, be careful. Why, Michael? Song is giving multiple thumbs up. Prime is saying, I really enjoy the convo today. I'm sold on AI. Mike, Prime, we're so happy you enjoy the convo. And we're also sold on AI. And so we're here to talk about, we wanted to talk about it. It's not all good. There's bad, but knowing the bad would help us appreciate the good and help us be on the good side, right? And not act as though the bad sides are not there. And next, after watching the series, next I would decide not to trust anything AI because there's a series called Next. I haven't seen the series called Next, but
Yeah.
apparently it really dissuaded my song
two
from.
two types of people, Prime and Song. After this convo, Prime is sold on AI, and
No,
after
he
watching
went
this,
to watch a show. He is talking about a show
Watch a
called
show
Next,
called Next.
oh, okay.
and so he couldn't trust AI. But now, yeah. Um, Prince is saying, do you really need friends with the? Do we really need friends with the AI innovation?
AI.
Companion issues
Oh, so
solved.
AI will be your friend.
So
Oh yeah, yeah,
AI
yeah,
will
yeah.
replace.
Absolutely. I think it's a good way to end the conversation. AY, this is what I was talking about at the beginning, right? Do we
Mhm.
really need friends with the AI world? This would be the last part. With all the things ChatGPT and all these other apps can do, do we really have to go out and spend time making human connections?
Of course. What do you think?
I
Of
would I would
course.
take everybody's answer. So AY, what is your answer?
I
What do you
think,
think?
oh, I mean, nothing can replace human company. So
Mhm.
yes, you need that. They can't do everything, but then I think it helps in a way that your friends can be there all the time for you, or be there to listen to some of your rants and unnecessary
Mhm.
complaints and talk. So yeah, the AI will be there to listen to you and answer every question you want, every stupid Monday, anything is going to answer you and be there to listen, be polite and be nice. So yeah, sometimes your friends will not be there for you like that, but you can't replace them. No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mr. Frost, what do you think? Would we need people after all the things AI can do for us?
Uh, I think we do. I mean, AI is here to aid us, make us efficient, make informed decisions. I don't think we should draw the line. I don't think it's not human, right? It's nothing can replace human. That's even though there's some stupid people, but AI is AI. Let's use it
Mhm.
for what it is. It's here to make life easier for us and make informed
Yeah.
decisions, not
Mhm.
replace human beings. But
Mhm.
I think there's some people that needs to be replaced with AI.
Aji. Chrissy, what do you think? Chrissy, what do you think? What do you think?
I said what I said.
Okay, for
I'll
me, I
replace
think
Kwame.
uh, we shouldn't replace humans with AI. We should just understand that AI is just an information box. It
Mhm.
just provides us with information. It's
Mhm.
not going to give you the emotional part of the
Mm.
information, and
Mm.
that's what makes us connect with humans easily
Mm-hmm.
because the information
Mm-hmm.
is coming, but it has an emotional component that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the AI might say, I'm sorry, but when a human says, I'm sorry, the expression on the face, the intonation, the movement of the facial muscles and stuff like that makes it more warm and welcoming compared to the AI. If you tell Alexa and Alexa says, I'm sorry, it's just an audio voice that you hear from in your ear. There's no face or emotion attached to it. So I think it will be sad if humans we are thinking in the direction of eliminating human connections just because we have a companion who sits in the box and just talks to us. So I think we shouldn't. But on the other hand, I think in certain circumstances, we
We
should
should.
encourage people to build their social skills by
Mm-hmm.
talking with the bots first so that they know how to be polite and respectful in. Honestly, some people are access on the internet, on Twitter. They should learn to communicate with these boxes to
Mm-hmm.
build their sense of communication before
Mm-hmm.
they are integrated back into the,
To
you know what I'm
society.
saying,
So
right? The
people need
human
to go
space,
into
yeah,
AI purgatory and communicate and learn
training,
some manners
basically.
before they come and interact
Some
with
people
real
just,
human beings.
basically, it just summarizes.
Interesting. So I am going to start off with this. And this is a query. I'm sharing a query on the screen of some things I asked the AI to do. The first thing I asked for the main headlines in American news, and the response ChatGPT gave me was as a language model AI. Number one, we shouldn't forget that ChatGPT is just a language model AI. I do not have real time access to current news. So it has its limitations. And so it points you to where you can find it. Again, I asked of it another thing, right? Can you write a blog post for the latest Casa episode? And I'm using Casa because again, it is the podcast, and we have to find a way to promote it. But this is what the AI said. Unfortunately, as I do not have any information on the latest episode of the Casa podcast, I am unable to write a blog post. I brought that up to say it has its limitations. It's still an AI and development. It's just not the final product. And even the final product would never be a substitute for real human interaction. As much as we may want to, Prime, we cannot substitute human beings with robots or artificial intelligence. It is artificial for a reason. The real human connections, the real interactions with people, connecting with listeners, connecting with your friends, connecting with your family. You cannot substitute that with an internet connection. A lot of people have tried. They substituted real human connections with video games, with living online, with becoming internet bullies. I don't think that is the point of AI. It's supposed to enhance your human interactions. It is supposed to make you an interesting person with your friends. It's supposed to give you, fingertip points, right? Summarize things so that you can be a very lovable and lovely person to be with, right? You have to find ways to make AI enrich your life, not substitute things in your life. And so, to answer that question, and I think it's very key, and a lot of people are worried about it. Even before the show, I was talking to Ifia and everyone else about this, that a lot of people might think, hey, let's substitute real human connections with AI. That's not the point of ChatGPT. And it will be a very bad way to use it. People are free to do whatever they want, but it will be a very bad and horrible way to misuse the internet. And on that reason, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go through the last few comments because you've sent them in, and I really want to read them. Okay, so we undressed Prime's question. Prince, you're sounding like a nerd in class do who does not go get a date and hopes AI stops everyone
Everyone
from
from
going.
going out.
Man, that is so true. People would start using AI to start messing things up. Watch SL Akwesi Frost should be replaced with AI. Oh my gosh.
The
Oh
AI
my.
can't replace the watcher though.
Thank you. And put it. Listen, people have been coming for Kwesi. If he claps back at you, I'm not going to stop him.
It's gonna be lethal. It's gonna be
Some
lethal.
took one and he's never come back for him. You better be careful. Sometimes humans do not want to deal with other human emotions. Absolutely. So know when to use
True.
AI, but you can't substitute them. But Kwesi is mean. Some people need AI to help them to have good conversation. It's not mean, it's true. Some people need to be trained by the AI before they come out. Are you guys sure one day we will not have a rogue AI disturbing all of us? We don't know it,
We
and it's
will.
never
We
going to be.
will.
No, it's never going to be a rogue AI. It's going to be a rogue person using an AI. And that one we
Using
can
the
always
AI,
be
yeah.
sure of it. And so, as good people use AI, we know bad people are going to use AI, and that's why we are encouraging you to build the security features for the good people on the internet. That's all. Yeah, definitely. Kwame, if you had Chat GPT back in the day, would you practice your pickup lines before you approach a lady? That's interesting. That is interesting. That is interesting.
Oh, okay,
That's Prime's
okay.
question to Kwame. If you had Chat GPT back in the day, would you have practiced all your pickup lines before you go use them in approaching a lady? Kwame saying my pickup lines there, I can bet they are top notch.
That's
it
what she
it's
said.
it will down your whatever. Okay, bye. Okay, I think this is an interesting one. Prime and Kwame are going to have to come on the show and discuss pickup lines and conversation starters and icebreakers.
Oh, I add Rashid to it. I add
If
Rashid
you're
to
on
it.
here
Yeah.
and you want,
Oh my
if you're
god.
on here, if you are watching the show right now, or even if you're watching the replay and you want Kwame, Prime, and Rashid to come on the show and come and display some icebreakers and pickup lines, just leave a thumbs up in the chat. Let's go right now. Let's just leave some thumbs up in there, and we're going to make it happen. Prime is going to come on here, Rashid is going to come here, and Kwame is going to come here, and they're all going to tell us some of the pickup lines, some of the conversation starters, how they break the ice when they meet new people, because it looks like it has to be a conversation we need to have, like pickup lines and whether or not we can use robots. So I'm not seeing any thumbs up yet. So that means maybe people don't want to see Prime and all the people come on here and show us what they've got. But if you want, let us know what you think. Okay, Amanda is sending some thumbs up in there. So now the stage is set. The stage is set. We're going to have a group of young men come in here and display their set of skills, and then we're going to have a group of young women rate these pickup lines and see whether or not they work. I think it's going to be a very fun game if we can get all
What
these
if the
people in
AI
here,
judges the
and
best
then
person?
we're going to grade these things ourselves. Because Kwame has bragged on my show, and I can't let him go scot free. You're going to come in here and demonstrate. And so, yeah, we have some thumbs up. So, guys, we're going to make it happen. Like we see commented in the comment section, and he's on the show. I have to go and find Rashid, Kwame, and Prime, and we're going to have a good show. We're going to have a good show. I am super excited about that. I'm super excited. Like, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. We've had a very long conversation on internet security, privacy, and artificial intelligence. I am super excited about this. I really had fun. Kwesi Frost, if you're a boy, you guys have been amazing. Mr. Song, Michael Prime, and all the people who listened to the show from the beginning. You guys have been wonderful. You guys have been top notch. We really appreciate you. And the thumbs up keep coming. The thumbs ups keep coming. It looks like people really want to see the showdown. The pickup showdown. The pickup showdown. That's what we're going to call that episode. We're going to work on that episode. We're going to get Prime, Kwame, and Rashid to come here and demonstrate their pickup lines. And we're going to have you judge these pickup lines. Thank you so much for listening to the Casa podcast. And once again, from the tribe, it's
No, she says say hasta
Bye.
la
so you
vista, whatever.
people,
I
once
can't. I
again
don't.
from the
Yeah.
tribe, it's
To bye.
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 Have a
hasta la
great, have a
vista,
great.
baby. Hasta la vista, baby. According to Rashid, I did that for you, Rashid. Thank you so much, guys, for joining
Rashid
the
needs
show.
AI to help him with his pickup lines.